Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile pup here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Thursday edition of Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, Dennis Dick. On today's show, a couple interesting upgrades to Snap. We'll talk about the upgrades, who is upgrading Snap and why. We'll talk about the follow-through action in Roku from yesterday. GE gave some guidance. We'll talk about that. Facebook under some more criminal investigations. Boeing's grounding their 737 fleet. And what else do we have? GE gave some guidance, which I may have mentioned. So a lot to get to on today's show. A lot of individual stock news. We have earnings as well. Cloudera, Taylor Brand, Dollar General. A number of big names after the bell today. Adobe, Oracle. So a lot to get to on today's show. Let's jump right in, Joel. How are we doing here in the markets?
Oh, we're doing okay. We're in the red by $1.75 here, 28.1775. Kind of a technical morning here, if you want to call it that. We stopped just shy of Wednesday's high, 26.50. 26.50 is also the high of the rebound since the December low. So that's a big target on the upside. On the downside, we got down to 11.25. That's just below your daily pivot, and we're just hanging out around mid-range. And the high close in the move, 28.1950. That's the big level. We'll keep an eye on that. Hopefully, we can improve on that today ahead of the quad, which crude finally made that move over $58, getting up to 58.67. Giving some back down a couple pennies at 58.23, but important to hold the top of that channel. Gold in the red by $12 here at $12.9730. Brief rally over 1,300. Silver in the red by 23 cents at 15.22.5. So let's bring in Triple D and take a look at the after hours trading and pre-market movers. Dennis, how you doing on this Thursday morning?
Okay, tired. It's a tired morning. The eyes are tired. It's one of those mornings there where lots of positions on, trying to get with the flow here, but the tiredness is really set in. So wake me up, Joel. Wake me up.
Wake you up. Okay.
What do you want to wake me up with? Let's talk something exciting because I'm really dragging my feet here today. It's one of those days.
All right, well, let's go. Let's just go straight. Let's just do like a real organized show. Let's go to earnings from after the close. We got some movers.
All right.
Let's go with Cloudera.
All right. One of the bigger losers of the morning is, CLDR. They reported yesterday. Numbers they gave, Q4 EPS of a 15-cent loss versus an 11-cent loss estimate, so a Q4 EPS miss there. Sales, $144 million. That was 123 of that was subscription sales, so that's okay there. But the guidance they gave was light. The Q1 EPS guidance, not good. They guided a 22 to 25 cent loss versus an 11-cent loss estimate. Their sales guidance around $190 or so million. Their fiscal year EPS guidance also missed by about 7 to 10 cents. They guided that they were going to lose around 32 to 36 cents for the year. That's all light. Not good.
Not good at all. And trading deep in the red here. I don't follow the stock super closely, so I'll just tell you the initial surge lower went to 12.28, and we're just kind of hanging out here. Basis the dailies, I don't have much at 12.28. The recent low of the move was 11.74. Low prior to that was 12.39. So I'll just call this, big decline. 11.74, 12.39 buy area. Not sure. I'm short it down nearly $2 in the hole.
Yeah. Claudia, I'm not going to give any comments. It's up. It's down. This is weak. I don't see this thing bouncing back. I don't think it's one that's going to come in ripping and buy the dip. It's traded a ton of volume last night, a ton of volume today, not showing much life here. So let's go away from the earnings because there wasn't a lot of earnings here, but I do want to just talk two major stories breaking last night. The first one is Facebook. And if you're looking and you're coming here this morning, it's down $3. It got crushed last night just after 7 o'clock. What was the news, Spencer? It looks like more data, so not liking the way they're using it.
Well, first there was like a global outage yesterday for Facebook and Instagram, but that's never really that big a deal. And now we're getting a report from the New York Times that the prosecutors are conducting an investigation into their data deals with some of the world's largest companies. At this point, I can't even keep track of the number of ongoing legal issues Facebook has right now, but this is just another in a continuing series, essentially investigating how Facebook lets these companies that they partner with use their data. Basically, what it comes down to.
We haven't heard a headline about this for a while, and the stock has been on fire. So maybe this cools it off, or maybe this is just a case where, okay, well, we've had these headlines before. Maybe they shrug it off and buy it right back. It'll be a really important day for it. Can they continue down? Can they compound this thing through 170? Or is it just going to bounce right back like it seems like everything else does? I'll tell you, other things being equal, it looked like it was ready to go before that news. I was actually long it, and that news broke, and I turned around and sold it. And I tried to sell it short, but it was really fast. And then it came back up, and I was like, I'm trying to get short, but it was widespread. It was 50 cents wide, and I didn't want to hit a 50-cent bid down. Should have hit it. Could have hit it all day at 172.85. Anyways, obviously it goes all the way down to 170. So I have remorse. Like, at least I got out of the long, but the short I did not get on. And I'm still long this in my long-term portfolio in the retirement account.
This one, I was watching it. It got the same upgrade. The same day Apple got an upgrade, and Apple, you can see what Apple's done since it got that upgrade from Bank of America. And this one, it was going, but it wasn't going. So it was a little bit trepidation here. A lot of resistance at the 174 area. We're $3.50 away from that. So that's what you really need to clear for another leg up. Keeping an eye on the pre-market low. Pre-market low comes in at 169.07. Really nothing there. We bounced $1.40. So maybe the buy the dippers are already in here in this one. To get to the bottom of yesterday's range, you can expect resistance, some minor resistance here. Yesterday's low, 172.12.
Also, it was major story night after 7 o'clock. There was just some major stories breaking, and then we got the Johnson & Johnson news, and looks like person's getting paid.
Yeah, one person got awarded, what's the number now? $23 million.
29, I thought I saw.
$29
million.
Yeah.
$29 million for the talcum powder issue. So obviously that's the one case. I mean, I don't know how. Do we know how many cases are outstanding, or that's still obviously hard to figure out? Maybe
hundreds
of cases outstanding. Whew. One person got $29 million. Obviously Johnson & Johnson will probably appeal it, but yep. I mean, it's not surprising that it gets hit on this. I tried to short that on the headline too. Man, these things go fast, I tell you. Those news algos just bang, bang, bang. But anyways, I missed it too, and I was all over that headline, like hitting it like a second after, or a couple seconds after it breaks. But I guess you got to have it all written up in algorithms there. But J&J here trading down $2 on this. I'd be nervous. It's really run a long ways. We don't know. Obviously, they're going to appeal. So, we don't know if she's actually going to get $29 million or not. But, I mean, it's not good news.
No, definitely not.
One case is $29 million. The liability here could be huge.
Yeah, and it was just working its way back from the initial news, and ran into a big seller at 140. I think, Dennis, you gave me the size there. They had 140 on the nose. That institutional seller turned things around yesterday. Got turned around at 139.84. But we're $3 away from that. The initial spike low took it to 136 even. So we have bounced. It's up $1.30 from that. My daily low to keep an eye on, I see 136.42. That's your 4-day low. So if we take out 136, then I think this thing has some problems. As long as you're holding 136, $1.30 away, maybe they can shrug this off. But man, in one case and $29 million.
Sounds scary.
Yeah, it does.
How many cases are potentially out there? But again, this is going to be a long story here. We know this issue obviously knocked the stock down significantly in December. Now, we get some settlements. I'm not sure what they were expecting from these results here or not, or from the actual award, but it seems high to me. So, yeah. And I think it's not surprising that the stock is trading down on this. And then also this morning, we get some surprise news from General Electric.
Not, I guess, a total surprise because today is their investor day, but they did come out.
We didn't know they were going to give guidance.
All right. Well, yeah, you can.
I didn't know they were going to give guidance. If you knew that, congratulations. I had no idea that was going to give guidance.
You can assume they're going to say something regarding their numbers, and they did this morning. They gave some guidance for the fiscal year EPS. They gave a range of 50 to 60 cents. The estimate for that was up at 70 cents, so a little bit light. And Culp has said that he's been transparent from the get-go about the guidance is going to be weak. Their numbers are going to be weak here, so I don't think it's a total surprise.
Good news that they bought this dip because this thing got hit on this news. And how low did we get, Joel?
We got down to we got under 960. We got to 953. So, woo, big turnaround here off that number. What do you think?
Trading in the green now, so you can't argue with price. I mean, price trumps all. Price don't lie, and they came and they bought the dip, and it was disappointing. So that they did that makes me cautious now. I was saying I'd like to get short this over 10. I'm not doing that now, not on this news and seeing the reaction here because they bought the stock on bad news. I think it's bad news. And buying it up on bad news, and that's never good if you're short. So if I was short this thing, I'd probably cover it here now and probably just sit back. I don't want to be long it yet because I still think the company's got all kinds of problems. But when they buy stocks on bad news, it's usually a sign you don't want to be short them.
Yeah, and
let's let the dust settle though and see. Real money's going to come in here after 9:30. Big money's going to come into this. See what it does. It's a big day for it. They can buy it up on the bad news. It's good news for Steve Grasso, who's been pumping this thing on CNBC Fast Money for a year now.
All right, I'll just say we're at your 2-day high at 1014. And we just ticked a little bit above it. So I think that's an important area because if in fact you can clear to 1014 with some momentum, I don't see anything up to a trio of highs at 1050. But so far from the pre-market action, what we're seeing now, could just see some yo-yo action, but pre-market high is 1019, 1014 was your 2-day high. That's going to be the battleground here in General Electric.
A lot of random news here. We have some ratings too. I want to start first with Roku because that is bouncing back. That got absolutely slaughtered yesterday, and we warned about this, that it was kind of wide open, and if this thing starts to get ugly, it could really get ugly. It did. I did not see it going that low yesterday, getting all the way down to 60. I actually traded under 60 last night, was trading the 59 handle, but then you got Needham this morning helping the stock out.
Yeah, hat tip to Aviator One for being the first one to point this out to me this morning, that Needham has raised their price target on Roku from $65 to $85, and they've named it their top pick for the year.
A top pick for 2019, and the stock is bouncing back here, so it needed an analyst to defend it quickly. It gets that. So yesterday's low becomes a huge support level, huge to hold 60.13. I think, as analysts have knocked it down, analysts is bringing it up here now. So not surprised it's getting a little bit of a bounce. This is still a good story. I know, there's going to be competition obviously coming for them. I don't know the long-term story here, but it's still got the short-term story going. So not surprising that you see people come and buy the dip once the analyst is defending it. I think they'll defend the 60 level. If I was trying to pick it up, got back into the 60s, that's the first level I would be leaning on.
What do you think about a good old-fashioned analyst battle here?
Well, it is. Really what it is.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of air everywhere. That's the thing with this, too. You look at it, we fell 10 points, over 10 points yesterday. So you could get back to 65 and the chart could still look like hell. So it's hard. Like right here, it's hard to put it on. I'll tell you, 62 people are bidding there, though. 40,000 shares on NSDQ bidding right now. So some institution is putting their money where their mouth is and saying, this is going higher. That's a huge bid for the pre-market.
Yeah, wow, 62.40. Well, I see it here trading at the set highs of the pre-market session. I did notice this one that it did rally $2 off the open. So it wasn't one of those easy peasy plays where, you short the open and it goes up 15 or 20 cents. So just kind of took my eye off it after that nearly over $2 rally. I'll just give one number here just because we're in such a wide area. You had a break from 74 and change to 60, 14-point move. 67, I can honestly say there's nothing in there until 67. That's the 50% retracement. It's kind of near the opening from Friday, or the opening from yesterday. So minor resistance at 67. Now that you have, a little people caught here after the downgrade yesterday, now if you're trying to buy back in filling, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. I don't think you're going to get a shot at the 60-13 low.
Just keeping with the ratings here for a second, because this one's interesting. Snap.
Yeah.
Spencer, holy cow, big move.
Big move. Had tip to Joel for pointing this out to me this morning. I looked at the chart and saw a huge green candle. I was like, what is that about? Two upgrades this morning, Jeffries and BTIG. Jeffries upgrading Snap to buy, announcing a $15 price target. Jeffries raising their rating on Snap raising their price target, from $9 to $11. So two very bullish notes here on Snapchat this morning.
Wow, it's a huge move here. I actually had a small piece of this, but I had a bigger piece, and the Facebook news broke last night. So I was long Snap, and the Facebook news broke, and I was like, it's obviously nothing to do with Snap, but sometimes they'll hit, the social media stocks when, you get one social media stock trading down that much. It wouldn't surprise me. I thought if Twitter or Snap get a little bit of heat, so I ended up selling my Snap. Obviously, seller's remorse on that. So I kept just a small piece, and I sold the small piece already into the spike, but it would have been a good one to hold. So I got spooked out of my Snap on Facebook.
Just made a high at 1081, and I see a monthly high at 1096. This is a big move from Snap, so I'll just use the $11 level as the resistance here. We're 34 cents away, but this is a big move for Snap. Dennis, I just want to ask you a quick question here. Spice is, saying this is just going back to the Roku, and you talk about the credibility of the analyst, how credible is Loop Capital? They downgraded.
They move stocks. Loop does some good research.
Okay.
I think Loop is very credible, and he's asking, is this an effort to buy the stock cheaper that they downgrade to buy the stock? This is what, conspiracy theories, out there want you to believe. Analysts don't do that. They're not up there. Like everybody will say, Goldman Sachs downgrade the stock so their clients can buy it cheaper. I don't believe that is done. Maybe it's done once in if it's a really dirty analyst, but stuff like that, people get in serious trouble for stuff like that. I mean, at Goldman, and everybody wants to pick on Goldman all the time, there is Chinese walls between the desk, the research desk, and obviously, their institutional, trading desk. That stuff, I tell you, is very protected, and they have to, because they get in big trouble for stuff like that. Loop Capital, they're trying to make a name for themselves in their industry. They don't want to come in and start doing dirty stuff like that. So I can't see any analyst, for the most part, doing stuff like that. People want to believe that everything is crooked and everything is rigged. Yes, a lot of stuff is rigged. I don't believe there's a lot of analysts. Maybe there's one. I'm sure it's happened before, but I don't think there's a lot of analysts that are downgrading stocks out there so their clients can buy it. I don't believe that happens.
Okay.
Not very often.
And I want to make a distinction here. Loop Capital is LOOP. Okay.
Oh yeah, this isn't G Munster. He's LOUP.
Yeah. So I just wanted just to be aware of that.
Good point. Never even thought about that. Yeah, good point. Like when we're speaking, you obviously can't see, the rating on the wall there. So yeah. So exactly. Loop Capital is not Gene Munster.
Gene is Loop Ventures, and
Loop Ventures too. There you go.
LOUP Ventures. Loop Capital is sell side a research firm. Big difference. Anyway.
Yeah.
And
anyways, they do some good research. So Loop can move stocks. We saw that yesterday in Roku. So when I see Loop and doing something or saying something, they can be influential. So some of these smaller ones, you get these little boutiques, and you're like, can they really move? Is anybody going to listen to them? Some of them they do. I think Loop has some pull.
Yeah, and you also have to, the algos. I mean, I don't know if they if they designate, okay, Loop Capital has more credibility than, BMO or Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley, but they see the headline, Roku cut to sell, boom, sell. It's programmed in there. But maybe we could do a special segment one time, because Dennis, I know that you rank all the analysts accordingly. Different analysts are more influential in different stocks.
Yeah, who has more weight? I mean, right off the hop in the U.S., Goldman Sachs. I mean, when they come out and say something, they have major weight. So you always think your big banks, Citigroup, Bank of America, Goldman, Morgan, they all have major weight. And then you have like the mid-tier firms, like you can get the Needhams and I don't know, who else would you put in there? Bernstein, they've all got some say too. Then you got some smaller firms like Macquarie, and Loop is probably in there, but they can move them too, especially if they're covering something smaller. So, and then it depends on the size of the note too. You get a huge note that they're just, initiating coverage across the board on a whole bunch of stocks. Well, that's not going to move as much as, just one report out of the blue. And is it a top pick? I mean, Roku Needham is making it a top pick. So that can be influential too. So, there's a lot of things to consider when you're trading ratings, but there's definitely, some statistical arbitrage going on. And I employ that when you think a stock is upgraded and you think it's worth more or it's not worth as much. There's definitely some money to be made by understanding how much these analysts move stock.
And also, Dennis, I know one of the tricks that you employ is, if a stock has like a good earnings report and a really good day and it's strong, you sometimes, depending on the close, you'll be like, maybe someone might upgrade this thing tomorrow. And that's just pure market feel and analysis.
Yeah. Well, Kramer talks that too. He was saying on NVIDIA, he thinks some upgrades are coming, and then we go and look, and the Benzinga, we did this exercise yesterday and saying, well, there's not a lot of people to upgrade it. So it is a good exercise to look at your pro and say, hey, how many people are at neutral on this and how many could upgrade it? Because, obviously anybody can initiate it anytime if they don't cover it, but something like NVIDIA, most of your analysts already cover. So where are they right now? And then we can say, well, if most of them are neutral, there is maybe some potential for upgrades coming. But when we looked yesterday, we only saw 4 at neutral and like only 1 or 2 at sell. And one analyst already piped up that they weren't going to come up to, to upgrade it. So, when you look at that, you think, okay, maybe there isn't a lot of upgrades coming. So there's lots of different exercises to do. I mean, but anticipating an upgrade can make you some money.
Right.
If you think, this is ripe for an upgrade, and you buy the stock and it starts to break out, that's when sometimes the analysts will strike. We know analysts do chase price. So when price starts going up, they do, obviously their targets will be out, maybe, their rating is out a little bit and they want to play catch up because, they don't want to look bad. And obviously they maybe already, but they got to play catch up because the price have moved away from where they were making the call.
And also, we haven't talked about this in a while, but, analysts ganging up together. Here you had a thing where, okay, we got the downgrade and then you get the price target raise. But, sometimes, and I think the best example is, and I don't know if Benzinga ever wrote it up or not. Remember when what finally got McDonald's going? This was maybe, I don't know, a year and a half ago. It was like upgrade, price target raise, upgrade, price. I mean, and it just boom, 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 boom. And it was a really, really tough trend to fight here. So I haven't seen that. We'll try and point it out if something happens. This is just kind of the opposite of it. But Aviator One is making a comment here. Listen to the conference calls. You can get a pretty good read on the analysts. So.
Good point. I mean, if you got the time to listen to some of these calls, I try to listen to the major ones, but I mean, you can get a feel. You're right. When these analysts are even on CNBC, you'll sometimes see them move because they'll say something positive about the stock, and people, speculating, well, maybe he's going to upgrade it, or he's just saying positive commentary, and they have influence. People, a lot of people trade off of analysts, and they do have respected opinions, and so they're doing a lot of homework.
And it's hard because there's no book that says which analyst is the most influential for which stock. You kind of have to just read the tea leaves on that one. Like, for example, Tony Sacconaghi is really influential on like Apple and certain
Tesla, analysts, and we know Inch on GE. So you don't think Gordon Haskett's a big mover, but I tell you, Inch is going to be the most influential
on GE. One of them, yes,
because he's been right about it for so long.
Yep, Gordon Johnson is influential on solar.
Oh, I gotta get Gordon.
But maybe
Gordon
not.
Johnson's
But maybe not
he
so.
knows the sector well.
But maybe not so much on Tesla, right? But he also covers that. So
He's
you
embarrassed on Tesla forever.
you have to. It's an art, not a science, right? You have.
It
to
is. And Jimmy A saying he ran an algo on all the various brokers for how much they move in. He was surprised that a lot of them were close to being equal. He said they're all quite equal, which, I've never done that. So Jimmy A, you might be right. Maybe an upgrade is an upgrade sometimes in a case, and a downgrade is a downgrade. And sometimes, maybe Goldman's a little bit heavier, but for the most part, maybe they just wanted an upgrade and somebody's stepping out and saying something. I mean, there's some smaller ones. Some of the Canadian banks aren't as influential. I know that, especially some of the smaller Canadian banks, like a Bank of Nova Scotia or something, maybe in Canada. But, if Bank of Nova Scotia comes out and upgrades a U.S. stock, rarely going to move it much. But, if they're upgrading maybe a Canadian stock, it's going to be more influential. And you got to consider that. If you're if it's a Canadian stock, a Canadian bank or Canadian broker dealer, it's going to be maybe more influential than, somebody overseas. It goes for the same thing when we're talking to European stocks. You'll get somebody, upgrading over here and it doesn't move it much. But if you get over there and it's UBS or Deutsche Bank, they're going to be more influential on their own stocks as well, because people over there recognize the name, obviously. They know it as a big, Deutsche Bank being one of the biggest banks in Europe, if not the biggest bank. So it has more influence on European stocks.
And Spinner's making a good point. Remember when Square got up over 90 and they were just loving it and all those price target raises and everything? That was a big turnaround. So actually that
we had 3-4 at the same time all raised, and it's like, this has got to be the top.
That helped me. That helped me recover from that being one of my worst stocks of 2018 to one of my best stocks of 2018. I sat on it and I waited on that. It also gave a good technical setup, but I was just like, man, these analysts. But it's just something to keep an eye on. I don't know if you get a lot of your other shows that talk about the analyst ratings, but they are a part of the market and they have something to pay attention to. Big part of it.
Besides like the news coming from the company itself, I'd say it's one of the most influential things out there is the analyst ratings, because obviously you get company earnings, that's going to trump all. But if there's no news or anything like that, it's ratings that push stocks around, and they are very influential.
Just quick note, we get a lot of symbols here coming out of the YouTube chat here. A lot of new people coming in, and at 8:35, Dennis is going to hop off for a little bit, and we're going to do some ticker time here. We're going to start a new segment at 8:35 today, because I noticed that we don't get to a lot of the tickers that you guys want to talk about. That's what we want to do. So let's move on. Des, we just got a little pop here. We're now green on the session, and I did see 8:30 tick. I saw the pop before that. Did we get some buying balances?
Not really. So do we have a number, Spencer?
No.
I don't see much from imbalance.
Jobless claims, initial jobless claims hardly moves the market. So
that's got to be it. Well, it's got to be it. It's got to be jobless claims. There's not imbalances didn't move. There's nothing in imbalance. Nothing standing out at all. Yeah. Now G 97,000 to sell, but that's so small, and G is going to trade a ton of stock.
Oh yeah. Just hanging out at that 1014, the 2-day high. So interesting setup. SPOOs go green here. On the upside, 25 even. That is your pre-market high, 26.75. That was the high from yesterday. Dennis, do you anticipate any? I mean, we got the quad witch coming tomorrow. Do you remember like any particular juggling ahead of it? Ahead of the quad witch? Or you think they just save it all for that morning?
You mean like a run up into quad witch or anything like that? Well, I've never noticed a defining trend, whether we're stronger going into a quad witch or weaker, if that's what you mean. If anybody in the chat, like Jimmy A or anybody who sometimes tracks that kind of stuff, if anybody does, I'd be curious as well. I've never noticed a defining trend though. I'll just say, this market is full on buy the dip mode. We've seen that. The market's very strong here right now. And a lot of times what I do notice is there is follow through of the prevailing trend. So, and the prevailing trend is up. So I would not be surprised if we're strong into the close tomorrow.
Yeah, not a ton of resistance in here. If you do get to that 2650 high, basis the June contract, you got your November 7th high at 32.75, but air's getting pretty thin up there if you could take out that 26.75 level here. But we are agreeing on the session. The buy the dippers were out last night. We are now 9 points above that pre-market low of 28.11.
Can't stop. You can't shake these buy the dippers. I'm telling you. These guys are hungry for stock, Joel.
All right. Just real quick, Keith Wiley, oil making a run to break the 200 EXMA. I'm not sure what that is. The only thing I'll say about oil, and I've been talking about this for a long time, is you haven't had a meaningful retracement from that 78.5 to 42 or 43 level. So that takes you up to $60. So I just can't get $60 out of my mind. Spook the shorts a little bit and then, pile some more longs in there. But not seeing clear resistance.
It's a breakout.
Yep.
It's on a breakout right now. So, and that's interesting. So, I mean, we obviously got killed the end of December. We've come a long ways back from the lows. A lot of oil stocks come a long ways back from the lows. A lot of stocks. I mean, January was a buy everything market. And then February has some stocks continued climbing and some stocks have shown some weakness. So in the last month, you're starting to see separation. But for the most part, January, everything looks the same. Everything got killed in December. And obviously when the VIX starts flying up to 25, 30 and above 30, you start seeing all correlations start to come together. And stock is a stock. They want to own stocks. They don't want to own stocks. We were even seeing utility stocks get hit along with regular stocks. And then the January is just buy everything. So those correlations are now broken, and now you're starting to see separation. You're seeing some sectors stronger, some sectors weaker, some sectors starting to break out, some sectors starting to roll over, which is a sign of a healthier market.
Okay. All right. 8:33 here. Spoo's just dancing around here unchanged. You want to cover one more new stock, Dennis? And then I got a lot of tickers here I can cover if you need to go in on.
Well, I got a pile of positions, so I do have to work out some.
Okay.
I would like to do
mind the 10 minutes, but let's just talk one stock here before. What do you got, Spencer?
I want to do Tailored Brands real quick because it is last I checked.
Yikes.
The biggest loser on my screen this morning.
There's always a retailer going up 20% or down 20%. Remember, we made this rule last quarter.
You do say that. You know what? You do say that a lot. I'm starting to believe you.
There's like 3 reporting. So, one's got to go down or up 20%. I mean, that's just what happens. I don't know why, but it does. All right. What about yesterday with, what was the stock that I was in? VRA. Did that end up 20%?
I don't know.
Close. I think it did. Telling you, man, there's a strategy there. The retailer, it's either up 20% or down 20%. When I have one reporting, it's probably going up 20% or down 20%. I don't know which direction. This one's the one that's down 20% today.
Okay.
All right. The adjusted EPS for the Q4 in Tailored Brands was a 28-cent loss, which beat by a penny. Sales of $785 million versus $801 million. So light on the sales number. Their Q1 EPS guidance, they gave a range of 10 to 15 cents, which is also light. And when you're a retailer and you give light guidance, they're going to hurt you.
They're hitting hard. It's under $10 here now, so under the psychological level. I mean, this is a stock that is just in a world of hurt, and it's been in a world of hurt. Well, unbelievable run in 2018, early 2018, but since then, since the $35, it's obviously just been an ugly time for Tailored Brands. Now it's under 10. Is it going to have little bounces? Is it going to have little rallies here? Yes, but this is a broken company in my opinion, and I don't want any part of it in my long-term portfolio. Despite sometimes it's going to have some bounces, but. They got all kinds of trouble.
I guess me buying shirts there is just not enough for the stock. I guess
because I like more shirts.
Yeah, I mean they're really cheap. And this was the saga. This is back when remember the Josie A. Banks and Men's Warehouse saga that went on for a long time. And people are just more casual. I mean that's an obvious thing. They sell other things there. I have a little strangle on this one. I thought it was going to move. They made me pay like 54 cents.
You have one on right now. South of trade. Tell us what you did.
I bought the 14 call for 23 cents, and I bought the 10 put for 30 cents. So my net cost is 53 cents.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, and it's like.
You were anticipating a 20% move in either direction.
Yeah, and I'm probably not going to be much. It's
hard to make money buying.
Yeah,
Here
Yeah.
you get a 20% move, so you're correct, and you're still gonna
Look at now. Now the intrinsic value is 69 cents because obviously that 14 call is going to be worthless. And for 18 or 20 cents, if I can get that out of it, was it the risk reward ratio certainly? Yeah, man, they're good. But
they're good. They figure these options.
Yeah,
good.
they do, man. Yeah, they do. I mean, I guess if I wouldn't have bought the 14 call, I'd be doing all right. But I don't know. You always mention the retailers moving, but whatever. Try not to take an opinion. But okay, Dennis, 8:37.
There are a few tickers here. I'll take 10 minutes off. I'm going to try to work out of my bazillion positions I have overnight, and I'll be back in a few minutes. And
okay.
Joel's do some ticker time.
All right, ticket time. All right, Spencer, I know, could you just check if there's news? I know there's earnings on this MDB here, and they must have been really, 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 really good. MongoDB, I have no idea what they do. Wow. What kind? How much did they beat it by? This thing's crushing it.
The earnings were good. They're from yesterday. I'll read those numbers to you now. Q4 adjusted EPS, they lost 17 cents, but they were expected to lose 38 cents. So they beat it by 20 cents there. Sales 85 versus $74 million. So a sales beat as well. Q1 EPS guidance that they gave was, again, a beat. They were expected to lose 31 cents. They actually guided that they would lose around 23 to 25 cents. The sales guidance for the quarter was a beat. The fiscal year EPS guidance was a beat. The fiscal year sales guidance was a beat. They beat across the board in every number for earnings and guidance.
All right. Well, so whoever asked about this, you got yourself into it on the long side before the report. So I'll let you get yourself out of it. I would just say it's trading up near the highs of the pre-market session, which is 127.84. You backed off $1.70. So my general rule of thumb with this, with these kind of moves is I like to see it get through the pre-market high and keep on going and keep on going. Historically, if it doesn't hold, if it doesn't take out the pre-market high early in the session, this kind of move, sometimes you get a little bit of a fade here. So 127.84, that's your pre-market high. It's traded pretty good volume. Shorts are maybe jammed on this one. It doesn't show, at this point, it doesn't show any sign of going down. In fact, you could call support 122.62. That was a low that you had at 6:15 this morning. So good job. I hope you're long that one. Getting a lot of questions on, or I don't know if it's the same person asking about Federal Express here, showing some life. Do we have any news on this one, or is it just a good old-fashioned rally?
I'm not seeing any news.
Okay. Boom. You're trading up. You're trading up another 40 cents, a 4-day run here, looking to continue today with the market up 47 cents. My area of interest here is 181. Pair highs 180.76 and 181.15. You split those 181, a pair of highs there, and then things really open up to 185.31. So that's what I'm looking at. If it happens to go into reverse here and you're looking for support, you sure want to see it hold that close from yesterday at 179.53. So we took care of FDX. Do we have any news on Shopify, SHOP?
No, not that I'm seeing.
Okay, boom. Monster run here. Yeah, I traded down $3. I'm not sure, that's not much compared to everything that it's done recently. What I would say is you had a spike. You went down to 201. But man, you traded right here at yesterday's low at 202.50. That's basis the daily chart. So if the buy the dippers are going to come in, and take this right back up to 207 and change, actually yesterday's low and your close from Tuesday, 202.36, 202.47. I'd like to see it hold here. I think it really needs to hold here, or else you're not really finding any support until, your 2-day low is 197.05. So big area of interest here, right where it's closing, right where it's holding at. The all-time closing high from yesterday, 205.51. The all-time high made at 206. 95 here. Oh boy, the tickers are really coming in here. Let's go. I'm going to stick with the ones that I wrote down already. AKTX. Oh boy, is this a low floater? Therapeutic stock, Acon Therapeutics. They must have had some good drug news, huh, Spencer?
Yep.
Good drug news yesterday.
Trying to track it down. Let's see here. AKTX, Akari. Yeah, yeah. They had a quote positive FDA meeting with regards. This was announced yesterday morning with regards to one of their drugs. So they had it was looks like a pre-approval meeting with the FDA regarding a trial program for a hematopoietic stem cell transplant drug. And
wow,
I don't know,
a hematopoietic stem cell drug.
That's what it says.
Wow, this thing was trading 30,000, trades 82 million shares yesterday. That is a move. You're getting major follow through this morning. I'll just give you a pre-market high. Your pre-market high comes in at 961. We have faded $1.30 ahead of that, so it's a little stock. Oh, the 80 people that bought the 82 million shares yesterday, maybe looking to take some profits today. I'd love to see it get back up to that, take out that 961 and get into $10 territory. But for right now, man, keep an eye on that pre-market high, 961. You're $1.30 away from that. So,
and also keep in mind it's got like 15 million shares outstanding. So, and some of those are privately held. So, the float is less than that. So, there's not a ton of supply.
Yeah, and wow, what a big day yesterday. So, how about IIPR? Stock I've never heard of or never pulled a chart up of. IIPR, innovative something properties. Boom, boom, trading up 464. You have any news on that one?
No, I don't see anything.
I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at the volume here, and I see, 200 lot, 100 lots. So basically, there's odd lots. Let me see what the daily volume is in this thing. Daily volume's like 400,000. So there's some news out there. I'm just not sure what it is. You are taking out the all-time high, which was 81.50. Whatever popped it up took it to 85.5. That's $1.50 away. I would use that as a target, but I think I'd have to dig down to the news on that one. Let's go to a more popular stock here, NVDA, and they loved that acquisition that they did a couple days ago. Strong day yesterday. We're following through, up 78 cents. This, I'm going to have to go a little bit farther back here in the dailies. And you got a big gap area here. Not quite at the top of the gap yet. Let me see if I can find the level for you. Boom. 174.68. Is that out of the question here? I would just say, since you had that gap down day in December, you had one small rebound. That rebound took it to 174.68. Then you went and retested the low of the move very nicely. Really can't see much resistance up here until 174.68. That covers NVIDIA. Let's talk pot a little bit. Aurora Cannabis, that had no news on that today. Had a good day yesterday. Mr. Peltz getting involved. It had a nice day. I know it was just kind of all over the place, but you're getting a reset at yesterday's high at 9.25, 13 cents away. So after a big range yesterday, get through 9.25, then the daily charts really don't give you much resistance at all. So 9.25 is my number in ACB. And what else do we have here? Let's go to another old traditional stock. The House of Mouse, Disney, just real quiet here. Traded down 4 cents. I don't know. This thing has just been in a trading range. Can't really see much here. We haven't even traded up to yesterday's high yet. So 115 is my big number on the upside. That surrounds the highs of the last 3 sessions for 114.85 to 115.30. On the downside, you are close to yesterday's low at 13.72, so I wouldn't want to take that out on the downside. But pretty much, it's just squat. The stock has been very, very quiet. Hexo was trading up quite a bit. They did an acquisition, correct, Spencer?
Yeah, yesterday they acquired New Strike for about $263 million.
All right. Boom. They popped this up quite a bit in the pre-market trading. They took it to 680, but you have started to fade yet here, trading at 630. You're trading it above yesterday's range here, $6. So I'll use, if you go into reverse, $6 is support in this one. That was the high from yesterday. Basis the daily charts, not much above 615. Gave a couple pokes at that 680 level, but they were quickly snuffed out. So I think sellers may step down from that 680 if they're looking to exit the stock. What else do we have here? Boom. OSTK, Overstock.com. I haven't talked about that stock much lately. They were developing their own exchange, I believe, using Bitcoin to trade stocks. And I don't know if that's ever materialized. Trading upsets.
I'm
sorry?
Yeah, T0 is live. It's an
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. How's it going?
Couldn't tell you, but I know it's live. It's been live for a couple months.
Okay. All right. Well, it got the nice pop off the announcement and everything, but for now, $22 seems to be your resistance. Yesterday's high, 22.07. This has really been a little bit of a trading range from the last few days. Lower 21s, 21.06 to 22.30. So a little period of consolidation here. So really need to clear that $22 area in order to get some more momentum from the upside. It's a former glamour stock, or had a big run up, so has a lot of overhead supply since during the Bitcoin craze. This thing went to 89.80, so a lot of room for this on the upside if we can actually get going. So we covered Overstock, we covered the House of Mouse. We talked a little bit about Square. Anything in Square here? Boom. Now, nice 1, 2, 3, 4 day run here, along with the rest of the market. What did we get up to? A week or so ago, we got up to 78.49 here. I see a high, and we're getting back up to that level. We tested it yesterday at 78.85. So that's the area of potential resistance here. 78.85, you take that out. Very strong stock. And then you have a big red candle there that you have to work through. And I believe that just came from a downgrade. I can't remember who downgraded it on that day that they got hit. But now it's returning to the point of origin here. So keeping an eye on 78.85. Asking about Twilio here, due for a pullback. Boy, oh boy, what's a pullback in Twilio? I mean, this is stock continues to make all-time highs, up 64 cents. I guess you got to wait until you get a meaningful top to try and figure a retracement on it. But right now, in the last 4 or 5 sessions, you went from 116.80 to 129.43. So right now, not seeing any hint of a pullback in TWLO. And am I missing any other symbols here that people?
There was a whole big note last night. Yeah, and it wasn't Twilio, but it was a Mizuho, and they came out and covered a lot of the cloud stocks. They initiated with buys, CRM, NOW, SPLK, and maybe they're way late to the party here. I do have SPLK long overnight, just for full disclosure. TEAM and Microsoft was actually, and Microsoft's not a cloud stock, but they had Microsoft as their top pick, I believe. And now, so there was a lot of a big note from Mizuho, and we know analysts can move it too. Now, these weren't upgrades. This was an initiation, so they were just starting coverage on a lot of these.
And now, ServiceNow got to buy.
Yeah, NOW. Yeah,
and VMware and LogMeIn got neutrals. So I guess
who got the neutrals? VMware and
LogMeIn, LOGM.
LogMeIn. Okay. So yeah, so if you trade in the cloud stocks, just be aware that Mizuho note is out there, and I wouldn't be surprised if you're seeing Twilio trade up just because it trades with a lot of these other names too that are all trading up.
I mean, kudos to this guy. I mean, he's or gal. I'm not sure who did the initiations, but strong stocks and initiating them, at high prices. So not sure where
it's called chasing price, in my opinion. But I mean, it's hard that they're, CRN, they dipped. We had that dip last Friday on all these stocks there, and a lot of people have come in and are buying now. And Mizuho looks like they're buying. We're trying to buy the dip too. A little bit late. It'd been nice to see this on Friday, and obviously, then you'd already be up 4 or 5% on a lot of these stocks. But I don't know if I'm necessarily coming in. Like I said, I trade all of these things. I trade them all every day. But as a longer term swing trade or a longer term investment, some of them are hard. I mean, Splunk hasn't rallied much here yet, but if it takes up the low, but then you could say, oh, okay, the relative strength isn't that great on that. I do have Splunk just for a day trade too overnight. I have a lot of day trades overnight here.
I know. Okay. Dennis, great call on General Electric here. I mean, you said, I don't want to short it anymore at 10, and if I was short, I would cover.
Yeah.
5.5 million.
It's just when they buy them on bad news. It was bad news this morning. Trade down 960. As soon as it goes green, that's your sign like, this isn't working. Now it's 1041. So we don't know what's going on when the real money comes in, but when they're buying stocks on bad news, I do not want to be short. Write that down.
Okay. I mentioned clearing that 2-day high at 1014. The next possible area of resistance is a pair of highs that you have right at 1052 basis the daily charts. We got close to there. How close did we get? 1044. So getting some near resistance here. It was actually, I think there were 3 highs in that area. So Dennis, can you see the book? Yeah, 3 highs, 1052, 1052, 1057. Can you
what stock?
Can you see anything at 1050 in GE in the book?
Oh, you know what? I didn't even log into it yet. I was running so late. I've got to go log into my book. That would take me a couple of minutes. But
don't worry about it.
The book's usually littered in GE with orders everywhere. It's such a big stock. But the other thing to consider is the volume is so insane. It's already 5.6 million. Probably going to trade over 10 million before it opens. I mean, that can chew it through almost anything.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. We'll look at it, but there's a potential resistance if you're looking to buy this on a pullback here. I don't know. I don't think you're going to get to the top of yesterday's range, 1005. That would take one big seller, but I guess the guidance wasn't so bad for General Electric here.
They just, for whatever reason, sometimes they buy stocks on bad news.
Well,
and maybe it's that everything is, I saw, and I was wrong. I thought this thing, it got over 10. I thought it'd be a good short. It did sneak its head over there and then pulled back here, but it got back over there. And you got to say, hey, if it's not working, get out. I didn't have the trade on, but as a paper trade, if I did, or because I made a call saying over 10, I thought it was a good short. And when you see it this morning trading back over 10 on bad news, which I would consider that bad news, the media will say they'll find something good reason for it. And let's call a spade a spade.
Well,
that wasn't good.
There are a lot of headlines here. This is an ongoing presentation. Today is their investor day, so they're giving a lot of
they're going to get more headlines
numbers right now.
But I'm just saying, no matter what, media doesn't write up, oh yeah, everybody was short the thing, so the thing's been completely out of favor and they're just buying a stock on bad news. Media does not write that. Media will find whatever reason is positive and say this is the reason it went up, which is absolutely not true in a lot of cases. A lot of cases there is no fundamental reason for it going up, just people wanted to buy it, and that was it. And sometimes they will buy stocks on bad news. I think this is an example of that this morning. Initially they hit it on the bad news and they bought it right back. When it goes positive, it's like, okay, they're finding, and the media will find a reason. So, you'll say, oh, it was this or oh, it was that. And people will tweet at me and say, no, this was the reason. I'm telling you, The media always finds a reason, a fundamental reason, even if there isn't one.
Just to give you an idea of some of the other things that have been said, this 2019 has been
Please,
called.
Spencer, the media is already finding a reason.
I'm just kind of agreeing with these
I'm just
comments
joking
here.
with you.
2019,
Spencer's the best in the media.
2019 will be a quote reset year. There will be large financial performance variability from quarter to quarter. 2019 results will be down significantly from last year. Just a sampling of the headlines that have come out of this investor day.
So, okay, say those again.
2019 results will be down significantly from last year.
That's terrible news.
Yeah, there will be, but this isn't so bad. There will be large financial performance variability from quarter to quarter. So, hey, next quarter could be great. You don't know.
Oh, yeah. So they throw a wild card in there. So that's where the media will grasp at that for why the stock's trading up. Continue.
Industrial free cash flow positive in fiscal year 20.
Okay, so that's good news.
The pace of improvement is accelerating as well in years following that. So just a lot of headlines. It is mostly bad, but he's at least being transparent about it.
Sometimes they just buy stocks on bad news, though. I mean, this happens. Media will not believe that happens. It does happen. And I think it was bad headline, bad news. They hit it on it and they rallied it up. And when it starts going positive on bad news, everybody who hit that is puking and trying to find a way out. So it's up here this morning. Let's see what happens after 9:30.
Little talk. Mary's mentioning that CVS. I got that upgrade. It was yesterday from Bernstein, and I mean, here's a scenario.
Huge.
Yep, you caught people short, right? Everyone's just going down. I'm gonna buy this at $50. Everyone's thinking.
I don't even think you caught people short. You just have people who have been caught long the whole way down, trying to call the bottom, call the bottom, call the bottom. And then all those people who, or all the people who have been sitting on the sidelines have been waiting for an excuse to buy it. So you have some people that have been like just getting the beats, and then other people are going to wait, like we wait. I mean, we said on the show, wait till it has a green candle. There's other people that are doing the same thing, waiting for the green candle. We get the green candle, and then you get a COO purchase, and then you get an announcement of that. So that helps a little bit. And then you get the analyst, and now it gets now there's a catalyst for people to come in and buy it. And that's what we got yesterday was Bernstein. So not surprising that it rallied $2 off that.
All right, Dennis, let's see, before we wrap things up, Spinner wants to know if you have any thoughts on Dell, DELL.
Trading up this morning because the CEO was on Cramer last night. I don't remember if Michael Dell, has been years since he's been on Cramer. I did watch that interview last night. I actually traded it too. I was long it ahead of the interview because I was like, Michael Dell going to be on Cramer. I was probably going to pop the stock up. So I bought at the close just because I knew he was going to be on Cramer. It was announced. And I sold it last night too. I think 55, 40, 55, 50. So it was a good 45, 50 cent trade actually, just buying ahead of the Cramer announcement. That works sometimes and it doesn't work other times. Other times it gets crowded and it actually goes down. But I mean, when you get Michael Dell, it's a big name. Usually that will drive the stock up because people will watch that and they'll go buy the stock after the interview. That's what you're seeing here this morning. So you're seeing a trade up because of the Mad Money interview last night. Does that hold? I don't know. We throw this to our technical analyst, Elconin, and he'll tell you if it'll hold or not.
We're rallying up here. I see trades all over the place. Pre-market high, 55.76. Not really. Oh, 55. Nope, nothing in. 55.84.
55.60 bid pretty good here this morning. So they're buying it up. There's more people buying the Cramer pump last night. And let's see how it responds. Can I hold on to these gains? If it can, it's good. I mean, Dell, and he makes some good points. And you look at this from a multiple perspective, it's supposed to make some money. I mean, this is trading with a low multiple. And if they can find growth somewhere, it could be a story stock. So you know what? From a longer term perspective, the fundies are okay with Dell. I don't mind it.
I'm a Dell buyer. I'm looking at a Dell computer here, a Dell computer here. I've always stuck with Dells, and also my latest purchase. I bought it. It was delivered to me, and then I got a phone call like 3 or 4 days later, and they said that that they were like the price came down on it, and they were giving me a partial refund on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good customer service here.
That's unbelievable customer service, stuff like that. So I love it when you get stuff like that happening. It's like, the price came down, so they give you a dip. And then they identify that for you too. I mean, that's unbelievable. That makes me want to buy the stock more. You know what? I'll put this on my shopping list down. I'm not buying it up 70 cents here this morning, But I've been thinking about this one for a while. I've actually had it written on my sheet a few times to, do some more research on this one from a fundamental perspective. I just, the quick research is just, well, what's the trade to the multiple here? And I believe when I looked at analyst estimates, well, you would have them in front of you there, on Benzinga Pro. What's the analyst estimates for this year? It's over $5, I think, isn't it?
For the
for the year.
Like as far as earnings,
earnings.
I'd have to go. It's in Pro, but I'd have to look. But I want to look at the multiple real quick. What is the multiple? It's
well, that's how we calculate it from looking at the earnings. That's why I was asking the earnings.
I'm looking at. I have the forward PE here. It says what? 8.4. Holy moly!
I'm telling you, man, they're supposed to make some money. I heard over $5 this year.
8.4.
So $50 stock, $5, trading 10.
Do the math.
So if it's higher than that, if it's trading at 6, I heard it's over $5 supposed to make. They make some money, man. They can find growth somewhere. If they can find growth, and the PC market isn't growing, but obviously they've got a lot of other businesses with Dell now too. They're trying to transform themselves there. I don't mind this stock. I think Dell could be one of those story stocks, and this could be like a $75 or $80 stock at the end of the year. So I have no position in it right now. I had it last night, obviously sold the pop, but that was just an overnight day trade. But I'm interested in this in the long-term portfolio. It's on my watch list.
All right, Spencer, before you wrap things up, Ed Parker asked me about Netflix here, and I just glanced at the chart, and you can do it too, Ed. I mean, 363. You're trading at 361.42, but I'm looking at all these highs in the 362 handle, the highest of those being 362.86 and 362.87. So someone's targeting between 362 and 363 to exit a lot of stock. A clean breakout above 363, and you got $3 of air to 366.39. But important area of interest here in Netflix, 363. So, Spencer, we kept you an entire 3 minutes over, and that was without a guest. So, wrap things up and preview the final show of the week.
On the topic of Netflix, they just announced 3 minutes ago that their next earnings report will be a month from Saturday, April 16th, after the close. So keep that on your calendars for if you're trading Netflix. As far as tomorrow's show, we'll be joined by Fari Hamza. It'll be an entertaining show when Fari stops by. But if you missed any part of today's show, catch our podcast, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Podcasts. We're also on YouTube. You can just rewatch the video there. Thank you to all of you in both our chats today. We love the participation.
Great.
As always. YouTube and premarket.benzinga.com. Keep it coming. Please remember all the information from our show is for informational purposes only and not meant to be investing advice. Hope everyone has a good rest of your day, and we will see you for the final show of the week on Friday. Have a good one.